Good morning, everyone. Hi, thank you so much for coming. We want to thank all of you for being here today. It's great to see all of your faces. And we want to thank the people who are from home watching on YouTube. Thank you for hanging in there. I'm Laura Daskal. I'm one of the co-founders of the CLT Foundation and also a board member. We know that there are so many great charities in Charlotte that you guys could be supporting, and we just feel very honored and blessed that you're here today to learn more about us. We have a great program for you today. We have some great speakers that you're just gonna love hearing from. But first, we're gonna play a quick video to tell you what we're all about.
We exist to bring the community together and change the lives of special needs kids. We want to help create experiences, whether it's granting college scholarships, providing wheelchairs for kids, delivering presents at a children's hospital, or making a kid's house handicap accessible. We want to change their lives through these experiences.
Graduate from college, becoming independent, and beginning my career as mechanical engineer.
Oh my God!
I already have so much independence, but I feel like going to college, I'll gain so much more confidence.
On behalf of the CLT Foundation, we are honored to be able to donate $5,000 this year to the Rolling Hornets wheelchair basketball team. We're going to work with the community, with other organizations and charities to enhance the lives of special needs kids, and we need the help of this community to make that happen.
Leader, Mike Daskal, my husband, and the co-founder and executive director of the Changing Lives Together Foundation.
All right. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us today. We're excited to have you here. We got about a 40-minute program, 45-minute program to kind of let you know what we do as an organization, to see firsthand some of the kids that you are supporting, that we are supporting through all the work here in the community. So I wanted to give you a little bit of background first on kind of how we got here. So the people behind the Changing Lives Together Foundation, our core team, we've been doing charity work for about 9-10 years now, right? It started with a big annual fitness event that we did. We were raising money for other nonprofits here in the Charlotte area. And then about 2 years ago, through some of that work with Dream on 3, we met a young man named Jordan Brighman. And we sponsored him for a wish granting experience to go to see a Chapel Hill Duke basketball game. And we met him, and he was battling brain cancer, and we're going to talk a little bit more about him today. And he unfortunately is not able to be here with us today. He lost that battle to cancer, and through that experience of meeting Jordan and finding out about how he lived his life and where he was 18 years old. He was going off to college. It really kind of lit something for my wife and me to do something else, right? To do something more for the community. So we wanted to start our own foundation specifically around college scholarships as kind of being our foundation. So that's how we got here. And 2 years ago, we started the Changing Lives Together Foundation. And our mission is to change and enrich the lives of special needs kids and kids with life-altering medical circumstances. So that could be anything physical, intellectual, developmental disabilities, anyone from 21 and under. And we want to focus on experiences, and that's what you're going to see a lot today, right? We want to focus on the kids today and doing things today to help their lives, to change their lives with your help. So that's our mission, and our logo, I want to talk a little bit about that. We took a long time trying to figure out, what we want to be and what represents us. And this, Changing Lives Together, this logo here on the side here, this is a C, right? So this stands for change. It also stands for community, because we don't want to do this on our own. We can't do this on our own. We want to partner with people like you, with other companies, with other foundations, and do some real great work here in the community. So the C stands for change, it stands for community, and all these little dots, these are the different groups, these are different companies, the different partners that we partner with. And the green little accent there on top, that's you, right? That is your company, that's you being a part of this change, and we can't do it without you. So that's kind of how we came up with this logo and what we stand for from an organization. So with that, we want to first talk about some of the work we've done in 2020. So we've been here 2 years, but last year was basically our first full year, and this thing came out of nowhere, COVID. So it was a little hard to really hit the ground running last year, but we want to talk a little bit about some of the impact, if we can go to the next slide, that we've done in 2020. The first is the Jordan Brighman Memorial Scholarship. Again, we're going to talk a little bit more about that later in the program, but we were able to provide 5 scholarships last year to 5 different kids, totaling almost $19,000. And what's unique about this program is it's not just a check, right? We don't want to give a check and send this kid off to school and say, hey, good luck. We want to be there with them. We want to help them in that transition. So we have a mentoring program. It's a scholarship and a mentoring program. And we have volunteers that are mentors that are partnered up with one of these kids, and they communicate with them. They help them with that transition to make sure it's a smooth transition, and they do as well as they can in college. So we had 5 kids that we were able to support last year, and we want to bring one of them up, if we can already now, and talk to Caroline. We have some questions for Caroline, too. Caroline was here last year, and she was so good at speaking, I told everybody that I'm not going to return next year, which is today. She's going to be the MC. She's going to do all the talking. So we brought her back to tell us a little bit about her first year. She was at Wingate University, and she did great, and we have some questions for her today. We're getting the other mic, right? Test, test. This one's not loud. Okay. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, there you go. All right, I talk loud, so you got the hot mic there. So we have some questions for you, Caroline. When we interviewed her a year ago, we said, what are you looking forward to most in college? And she said, gaining independence. So if you can, and you got to hold the mic close, tell us about that. Were you able to gain that independence?
Oh, that was like a slap in the face when I got there, because they stuck me in an apartment. I had no roommate. So my room was two suites, so it's 2 suites and then 2 bathrooms. So I had my own bathroom and my own room, and I was like, what the heck? And I had to do laundry, and I'm like, wait a minute, these aren't front load washers like they said they would be. So my mom actually had to buy me a reacher off of Amazon, and I'm like, wait, I have to like make my own food, and I have to do all this, and I actually have to have food in my fridge, what the heck? So I was like calling my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I need help. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I didn't even know how to work the dryer or the laundry. And I'm like, wait a minute, I got to do this. This is adulting. I got it. I'm good. I got it. So it was like kind of like a slap in the face, but I'm excited that I did it because I've done about 30 loads of laundry now. So.
Awesome. And tell us about kids that have physical challenges. Is that transition, is that harder for them? And tell us about that, and how did you overcome that your first year?
So it's harder, but like you also have to have the mindset that you can do it. So like I knew it was going to be difficult for me, but I also knew it was part of my independence. So my parents have done all they can for me. So I was like, you know what, I got it. It might be a little different because I have to adapt things, and things have to be different, but I can do it. It's just going to take me a little bit longer. And it was a huge adjustment because everything was, because of COVID, everything was online. So I actually didn't have to get out of my bed, but I had to be disciplined, and I had to make my bed, and I had to get up for class, and I'm like, whoa, what is this? I actually have to get up, and next year I'm going to have a rude awakening because all my classes are in person. But my first class is 10 o'clock a.m., so I don't think I'm going to have any issues.
We saw you had a great support network. You had a lot of friends out there in Wingate. I mean, Was that all that you expected to be college from that standpoint?
I joined a lot of clubs. I think I might have overdone it, but because I wanted to get involved. But I'm so glad I did because they understand where I'm coming from and they're willing to help me. I actually have friends now that are willing to help me, and I know if I'm struggling that they'll help me. So I have a good support system, which is nice. And I'm only 20 minutes from home, so it's not like I'm far away from home.
So, Caroline, we have 2 kids here that are high school seniors that have applied for the Jordan Brighman Scholarship this year. Do you have any advice? You seem to do great your first year. Do you have any advice for them?
Just stay diligent and, not try to work yourself as much. Also try to have fun, have that balance, because I know my first year I thought I was going to work, but, college is also meeting people and having a community. So make sure you do that, because if you don't, then that's not all the full experience.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Caroline. Can you help her? Put it in my pocket. All right, so we want to talk a little bit more about some of our other outreach programs. We're going to come back to the scholarship. We also do a program, it's kind of our holiday outreach. So this year we did it with the Charlotte Rolling Hornets, which is a kids wheelchair basketball team. We have one of the basketball stars here today that we're going to meet in a minute too. But we put together these gift packages for each of the kids. We had customized Spalding basketballs with their logo on it and our CLT logo on it, and a big, bag of presents for each of the kids that we were able to deliver to them at their practice at Christmas time. So that's something else that we do each year as well. If we can move to the next slide. And this is our annual event, the fitness event that we do each year. We were able to raise, I think it was $105,000 last year at that event. It's a big event. To date, almost all the money has gone to Dream On 3. And then as of last year, we started doing some of the money to CLT. And then this year, all the money does go to CLT for our programming. So this was a big event that we do, and we sponsored one kid for his sports wish granting trip, and he's a kid with cerebral palsy. Next, we want to talk about the Charlotte Rolling Hornets. So this is, again, it's that local wheelchair basketball team. I got involved with them about 3 years ago. I think we sponsored, through our organization, at least 3 kids for their wish granting trips with Dream On 3. And we have done the holiday outreach for them a couple of times, and we have one kid that Caroline was also on that basketball team, so one of the kids have won a scholarship. So we're really involved with this organization. It's a group that we believe in. We have there's kids traveling 3 hours from Georgia and Virginia to practice once a week here because they don't have wheelchair basketball teams all across, in different states. So it's a great organization where it gives these kids an opportunity to play with other kids. So with that, we want to bring up one of the stars of the Rolling Hornets, Ray Ray. You're going to have to help me here. I think I'm good. All right. We'll stand here. How you doing?
Good.
All right. So Ray, oh yeah, sorry, you're holding this one. Which one, white?
White.
Okay. So there's a lot of kids on the Rolling Hornets. There's probably about maybe 25, 30 or so kids. And one of the teams is the prep team, so a little bit of the younger kids. And I used to coach some basketball, tennis, a couple different sports. And the kids, typically all have a good time, but there's always some kids that aren't, as into it or whining or complaining. But with this team with the Rolling Hornets, every one of these kids is always out there with a smile. They all are just happy to be there. And of all the kids, I think Ray exudes that more than any other kid there. He's always smiling. He's never in a bad mood. He's the hardest working kid out there. And that's why we wanted to bring you here up, Ray, to talk a little bit about your experiences with the Rolling Hornets and for the kids to meet you. Because again, this is an organization we believe in, the Rolling Hornets, and we want to keep supporting. So we have some questions for you here as well, Ray. And if you can, speak loud. How many years have you been on the Rolling Hornets?
4 years.
4 years, all right. And tell us about the team, right? Because it's more than just practice. You guys have parties. You have some friendships. I see it on Instagram. You guys travel together. Tell us about that experience.
Some kids don't have that experience, so I am glad that my team and my friends can do it with me, because if I did it alone, then it'll be way scarier than with my friends.
Gotcha. And so you have some physical challenges as well, right? Some different abilities. How is that playing wheelchair basketball? Is it something where, like what goes through your mind when you're going out there in practice to how you're going to go out there and play with those other kids, and how do you do that?
Well, when I was younger and my first time, I was like, I can't do this. But when I saw my brother play, I was like, wow, that's really cool, and I just did it, and my parents bought money so I can do it.
Gotcha. So Ray, so he's playing basketball in a wheelchair, and he can't bend over to pick up the ball. So this is in a game, in a practice. What he does is he picks up the ball with his feet, and he throws it up from his feet into his arms and he catches it. So it's impressive, right? And he's gotten really good at it. And yeah, and this year, do you know what I'm going to ask? You've gotten really good at one other thing. I was doing some videos of it at practice. Do you remember what it was? The dribbling.
Yeah, dribbling, and I was practicing how much I can dribble, because when I was first started, I couldn't dribble, so I practiced, and my parents said, "Wow, you got stronger," and I practiced shooting too, which I couldn't do that, but I tried, and yeah.
Awesome. And then they have big tournaments. So the Rolling Hornets, they do their own fundraisers because a lot of the kids and the families can't pay to travel, to Kansas, to Atlanta, to Chicago for these tournaments because it's a lot for a family to either fly or drive out there. So they do fundraising. Part of the money we donate, we've donated $5,000 to them for the last 2 years, goes to that. But tell us, Ray, about those tournaments, right? Because it's nice to practice with 15 people, but then you go to a tournament, 150 kids like you playing wheelchair basketball. Tell us about that feeling.
Well, when I saw my older brother play, I saw the other people play too, like older kids, and I'm like, wow, I thought I was the only one in my team that has disability, but when I looked at other people, then I thought that there was like thousands of other people who has disability like me.
What's the biggest challenge for you in wheelchair basketball?
Probably losing and yeah.
What do you like best about wheelchair basketball?
I like how my team work together, and if we work together, we'll have a better team. And
Love it. So thank you, Ray. We appreciate it. All right, if we can go to the next slide. So that's what we've done in 2020. That's our first year in a COVID year, $18,000, $19,000 in scholarships, supporting some other organizations, doing some holiday outreach. Now we're going to talk about what we're going to do this year in 2021. So we have that ongoing scholarship, right? We're going to continue that this year. We have 12 kids that applied for the scholarship this year. Last year was 5. Actually, it was 7 last year, and we gave 5. This year, we have 12 that have applied. So we're still going through that process of finalizing who's going to get a scholarship. That's why we're here today, to help with that fundraising. We're projecting we're going to be able to give at least $50,000, maybe $55,000 in scholarships granted out this year to those winners. So it's a big jump up from last year, thanks to the community and thanks to all the work and thanks to you guys being here. So again, that's our main focus. And about 50% of all the money that we donate out goes to these scholarships, and that's something that we kind of want to stick to, right around 50% out to the scholarships. Some of the additional things we do, we're going to continue to have our annual fitness event. If anybody's interested in that, let me know afterwards. It's a great time. There's going to be 1,500 people there in October. It's a great sight to see. We have an annual Christmas in July at Levine's Hospital. So we bring thousands of presents to Levine's in the lobby. We weren't able to do it last year because of COVID, but we've done it 3 years in a row before that. And we give out the presents for sick kids in the hospital. They come downstairs into the lobby. We bring a Santa Claus. We bring ice cream and all of the things, and we give out presents to these 6 kids here at Levine's Hospital. And then we want to do financial grants. So we have our own program that we've talked about, but we also want to support other organizations whose missions align with ours, like the Rolling Hornets and some others, and we plan to continue to do that this year. Some new programming. Something that we're very excited about is a 3-day camp that we're going to talk about in a minute. We also have a quarterly outing, a social outing for kids with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So we had one about 3 weeks ago. It's a free event. Everything we do is free. And kids with Down syndrome, autism come. We had a bowling event. We had about 13, 14 kids out there. And it's just an opportunity for them to hang out with other kids like themselves and be in a comfortable environment. I heard from a mother that, one thing they're not able to do, her kid has autism, is go to the movie theaters, because he won't sit still in the chair. He's going to make, maybe noises and blurt out, and he's going to walk around. So we're going to rent out a movie theater in a couple of months and invite these kids to be there, and they can be comfortable and don't have to worry, about anything else, and just enjoy the movies like other kids can. So we do that on a quarterly basis. We're looking to do some housing renovations, refurbish some houses, make it handicap accessible for some low-income houses as well, for some families. And then the next slide is the slide about our Camp Thunderbirds. So this we are very excited about. We actually need a lot of volunteers if people are interested in doing this. It's going to be in September, right? We are going to be at Camp Thunderbird. We're going to have an exclusive camp for 35 kids with physical disabilities. These are kids that cannot go to camp, a traditional camp like other kids, right? It is not accessible for them in their wheelchair. There's not accommodations for them. There's not 24-hour nurses. We're doing that all with this Camp CLT, right? So we're going to have staff there overnight. We're going to have nurses on hand, and we are going to do rock climbing. We're going to do archery. We're going to do canoeing, kayaking, a big slide into the lake, a pool, right? It's going to be 2 nights across 3 days, and we're going to make it where it's an environment where they can be successful. They're going to have volunteers that are like their kind of shadows, right, for the weekend in different shifts, helping them get from one place to the other, and it's going to be an amazing opportunity. It's a free camp. It's in September at Camp Thunderbird, and we have a mother who is actually on our committee as well who has a kid with spina bifida and is in a wheelchair, and we have a video that she's going to talk a little bit about what that means to her and her son to be able to have an opportunity like that.
Better known as Cam's mom, and Cam is my 11-year-old son, almost 12, who was born with spina bifida and several other diagnoses that go along with that, and he is a full-time manual wheelchair user. It's a little hard to articulate what this means, but it's big. It's like huge big.
Well, so she's going to talk about the camp. We're going to work on the volume. She's going to talk about this camp and what it means. But again, it's going to be at Camp Thunderbird at Lake Wiley. We talked about some of the activities. We have some of the organizations. There's a CrossFit gym in Weddington that did a fundraiser in last year in November and donated money to us. And they want to be also part of the community, right? They don't want to just write a check. So they've raised their hand and volunteered, and they're going to be out there in the afternoon helping these kids, and again, kind of taking them from one activity to the other. Let me check on that volume, see if we're good. And I'm going to pause too. We have YouTube. There might be some questions on there, but does anybody in the room have any questions about what we've done in 2020 or kind of what our organization does? Any questions? All right. I memorized that for 10 minutes. I can't do it again. That is Anthony. He is one of that big event. We're at Sugar Creek Brewing, and that big event we do, it's called Beers and Burpees. We have our own beer that they're making in a can, especially for us. They're going to be selling it here in the tap room, and he is that beer can sponsor. So his name's going to be on the side of that beer can. 3,000 of them coming out here in a couple of months. Levin, we good? All right, so listen closely, and then let's go ahead.
Better known as Cam's mom, and Cam is my 11-year-old son, almost 12, who was born with spina bifida and several other diagnoses that go along with that, and he is a full-time manual wheelchair user. It's a little hard to articulate what this means, but it's big. It's like huge big. Trust me. The harsh reality for our kids with disabilities is that they face more isolation and exclusion than their typical peers. It's true, and it's soul-crushing. And I know this because we live it. Cam can't even go 5 doors up the street to his buddy's house and have a sleepover because of his nightly medical routine. He doesn't get the birthday party invites because the places aren't accessible. Or people just assume he can't come, so the invites don't come. Going to overnight camp is typically an activity that our kids can't do. I can count on one hand the number of camps in a 300-mile radius that provide this kind of opportunity. One in Georgia, one in North Carolina. And Cam's been one of the lucky ones who's attended Victory Junction. But think about it, 2 camps. there's way more need than camps, way more kids who don't get this opportunity. So, like I said, camp's been one of the lucky ones, and despite our fears, tears, anxiety prior to going to camp, he rolled out of that camp with a swagger, a confident swagger that I had never seen before. It was 100% life-changing for him. It was a swagger that said, I can do hard things, and I can do these hard things on my own, independently. He was a changed kid in 4 days. No joke, 4 days. I saw the light relit after it can get dimmed by daily exclusion and isolation after he went to camp. There was like this little sparkle in his eyes. So what I want you guys to know is that by being here today, you're making this camp possible. You. Take a look around you. Look at the faces of those kids who are in person with you, who are on your tables. These are real people with real challenges and real stories who deserve these opportunities. And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that by being here today, you guys are changing lives. So thank you.
All right, so she put it in perfect words, right? This is what we want to do as part of the Changing Lives Together organization, right? We want to provide these opportunities for these kids that cannot go to camps. We want to provide that free. You know, we're going to have 30, 35 kids this year. Maybe it's 50, maybe it's 100 next year. Maybe we do 2 weeks, 2 different camps instead of one camp. So this is what we think is going to be one of our long-standing initiatives and programs that we do and continue on for years and years, is this camp, as well as, of course, the scholarship, which we'll talk a little bit more about. So the process for this scholarship, right, where do we find these kids? We go out to the public schools, the private schools, and we work with their counselors, and we tell them about our scholarship, and they push it to their different special ed teachers and different teachers within the program. So we get a lot of applications through the school system, and then we also work the social media channels and our partners in the community, right? The different organizations that we know serve kids like these that can apply for these scholarships. That's where we get these applications come in. So we had 12 different kids apply this year. Again, we don't know how many are going to get a scholarship yet and what those amounts are. We have a couple of kids here today that have applied. We're going to talk to them today as well. But this stat, we talked about it last year. Only 15% of people with disabilities obtain a bachelor's degree compared to 38% of those without a disability. So that's 2.5 times. So a kid without a disability is 2.5 more times likely to get a college scholarship because they don't have that disability. That's the gap that we want to help close with your help. We have this picture of a guy here at the airport. He's walking down the wrong way of that moving sidewalk. He has that headwind. He's going uphill battle, right? We want to try to level that playing field for these kids, and that's what we're looking to do with this scholarship, is close some of those gaps and give these kids the opportunities that they might not have had. So with that, we want to bring up Makai. And we can go to the next slide, but we want to bring up Makai, who is one of the kids that applied this year. This is our people from last year, so just putting a couple of faces. These are the groups of kids that you guys supported. Huh? Both? Both? Okay. So these are the kids we supported last year, and then their different amounts. And then we can go to the next slide, and we're going to, Makai, ask a couple of questions for you as well. Sorry. So you are going off. He was on the border between a couple of different schools. Where did you decide where are you guys going to be going to school? Where are you going to be going to school?
Likely UNC Charlotte.
UNC Charlotte. Okay. What are you looking forward to most in that experience?
Well, I'm a naturally curious person. So I think the opportunity to really take a deep dive into my, biology, and to meet like-minded people and to be around them, a whole environment, I think it's a really great opportunity.
Makai, tell us about, during his interview, he really, all the interviewers, I think we had 4 or 5 interview him, really knocked us off our feet in how he explained his experience. He has sickle cell anemia, and the doctor that really made that connection with you. Can you talk to us a little bit more about what that doctor meant to you and how that's inspired you for your possible career?
Okay. Well, I've been going to my clinic since I was 3. And, you know, when at such a young age, you just know people want to poke you with needles and, you know, like ask you a bunch of questions. But, like, they really, like, drowned me in love, like, to where it just overtakes you. So, like, growing up in that experience, I know most kids, like, they're, like, on the edge going to doctors. They're like, no, I don't want to go. You know, they're going to poke me. They're going to ask me a bunch of questions and do this. But to me, it was really home because, you know, I know the receptionist. I know the nurses. I know my doctor, most of all. And they just really, like, elevate me from a patient to a person, to an individual. And I want to give kids the same opportunity just to baptize them in love. Like, they have no choice. You're just going to, you know, be here and you're going to be comfortable. And this is going to be home. Not just, you know, a place where you just have to stay, you know, so. Yeah.
That's amazing to hear, right? I mean, from my standpoint, to hear him say that, he's like, this hospital, going to the doctor was his home, right? I mean, it's amazing to hear that doctor had that influence on you, and that's encouraged and motivated you to, is that what you want to do when you grow up now, be a doctor?
Yes.
So I told Makai this. I talked to him on the phone a couple weeks ago. I told him he was awarded a $2,500 scholarship, and I told him he is very smart, right? We saw that he had a 3.9 GPA, but that's not the only reason why we gave it to him, right? What you just heard here, him, how he can articulate, you know, what he's been through and what it means to him and what he wants to do. We see him as being somebody that wants to change lives himself in the community, and that's what we want to do. We want to put our investment and our energy into kids like Makai who want to give back to the community and are going to return that favor. So that's why he is one of our winners. And we told him $2,500, but we were so knocked off our feet with you and your interview. We want to tell you, Makai, he's been awarded an $8,000 scholarship through the CLT Foundation. And we just, again, want to thank you for all the hard work that you've done in high school, and we know you're going to continue to do great in college and beyond, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we have one more thing for you. Makai, hold on, one more thing for you. Some of his hobbies, very interesting. He loves Korean pop music, and he loves playing chess. So we got a nice travel chess set here for you to take to college to in your downtime in between studying. Yep, congratulations. All right, next up, if we can have Caitlin come up here. Caitlin was another recipient, another interviewer, person who's interviewing this year. What is it? Yeah, don't worry about it. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, so I got these mics, and then we'll talk into these a little bit too.
Okay.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Okay. When Caitlin interviewed with us, her letter of recommendation, I think, who wrote, do you remember who wrote your letter of recommendation?
It's my dad.
Okay, I'm sure he had good things to say. I think it might have been somebody else also, maybe there was 2. But they said that, I think the word that comes to mind when they meet Caitlin is joy. And we saw that when we interviewed her. She had so much positivity during the interview. It was a Zoom interview, and the whole time she's her mom was next to her, and she's just loving on her mom the whole time, right? She's hugging her, she's kissing her, she's grabbing her by the head, and her mom's back there waving to her. So, Caitlin, do you have anything, how did that interview process work for you?
I love to work with my friends at school.
And in school, I believe you were also voted the prom queen. Is that correct?
Yes.
And tell us about that.
I got a sash and I got a flower and a nice crown.
Wow. Let's give it a little hand for that. So we went over what we've done, all the different programs, we don't have a prom yet at CLT, right? Maybe we'll do that one year, but based on your interview, we thought for sure that if we ever had a prom, that you would be our first prom queen. So we have something we want to give to you here today. Caitlin? So Caitlin is our first official CLT prom queen. Yep. And we also wanted to give you something else while you're up here, right? Let's do that. So we might as well do it again, Caitlin. We also want to let you know you've been awarded an $8,000 college scholarship. Caitlin, what are you looking forward to most in college?
I'm going to Western. I'm going some jobs for Western.
So she's going to Western Carolina. You're going to be without your mom there, and you told us about that before. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, it's okay because I love my mom.
Yep. So thank you, Caitlin, very much. We appreciate it. And there we go. Thank you. All right, we have one more speaker we want to bring up, Joy. And while she's coming up, we talked about Jordan Brighman. This is a picture of Jordan. This is her son. Again, we went on that wish-granting trip with him in February of 2018. And I personally got to know him throughout that year through some of the times that he was here in the hospital in Charlotte at Levine's. And I sat with him in his room. And he had such a... he was sitting there, he was very sick, and he was still thinking about these other kids. He said, I can't believe it's hard to see all these other kids and how sick they are. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Joey.
I'm nervous. This is my first time ever speaking live. I want to thank my family for coming with me and for having the chance to be able to speak on behalf of Jordan. I myself never went to college, but as a child, Jordan always said, Mom, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to get a good job. And he said, I'm going to take care of you like you've taken care of me. He was a normal child growing up. He loved fishing, video games, basketball was his favorite, hanging with his friends, being with his family. And his senior year, he was sick and ended up getting diagnosed with medulloblastoma. And it was just life-changing for us, this healthy child that had never been sick. His whole world and our world was flipped upside down, so it was really challenging for us. But Jordan was a fighter. He never gave up. He never complained. He wanted to go to college. He'd actually had a scholarship. He was going to go into engineering. He wanted to get in the Duke Power program for that. And God saw different than the plans that we had for Jordan. But it's an honor that his name and his legacy can live on through the Changing Lives Foundation, that these other children can help them be able to live out their dreams and make some of their dreams become reality. And I just want to appreciate everybody for coming, and thank you guys for being here in honor of this.
Thank you, Joy. They traveled up from Laurinburg, and I know that's not easy, so thank you very much for coming and talking about Jordan. He's why we're here today. The kids like Ray and Caitlin and Makai and Caroline, that's why we're here today. We want to continue to fight for them. If we can go to the next slide. We want to change lives, and we don't, like we talked about in the beginning, we cannot do that on our own, right? We want to do that with the community and with, other people in the community like yourself. So, we want to continue to provide experiences to close that gap, whether it's scholarships or camps or other programs. I want to be here in this room, but maybe a bigger room in 7-8 years when Ray's going off to college and give him a scholarship as well, and other kids like Ray. So I want to thank all of you guys for coming here today. If you have any questions, please let anybody here in the room let us know. I know a lot of you have already donated just by coming here, so thank you very much. If you do want to donate more, or for any of the other folks, if you do want to donate, that's obviously an important part of our program. That's how we fund these scholarships, how we fund the camp, and how we continue to hopefully make these experiences happen. So we have Denise and Laura over here. Very quickly, they have a square. They can swipe your credit card if you like. On all these placards here, there's a QR code. You can take a picture. It'll pull up the website. And then you could also Venmo us at CLT Foundation. Does anybody have any questions for us about the program today or about what we do as an organization? Okay. So again,
Mike, when is your fundraising event here in Berkeley?
so that is October 2nd. So October 2nd, we have a big event. If any companies want to get involved, we're going to have 1,600 people there. We already have 900 people signed up, almost. So it's a great event to come out to, and it's fun. We'll have a golf tournament this year at Top Golf. Has not been announced yet, but that's going to be in October. That's going to be a lot of fun, right? Top Golf. And then we have our camp in September. So those are the next big 3 things that we have coming up, with some other things throughout the year. Any other questions? Please get more food if you like. Walk around a little bit, ask us some questions. Denise and Laura will be here. If you have any other questions, let us know. But again, thank you very much just for coming and for supporting the CLT Foundation. Thank you.